Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I want to talk about why Bitcoin is going up forever. It is going up forever in accelerated form. And I want to explain to you why this is and what this, of course, could mean to your ability to create multi-generational wealth, to secure your retirement, to never have to worry about money again. All of these kinds of things. If you've got 10 to 15 years until retirement, or at least until you would like to retire, you have to be paying attention to this. You can no longer ignore Bitcoin. And what's really sad to me is that there are many people in the legacy financial system that we entrust with our money, some of them we may even look up to, who unfortunately are not talking about Bitcoin. Now, there are reasons if they're in the financial planning industry that they can't recommend it because they're governed by very strict and stringent rules, and so they have to only recommend and put people into financial products that are a part of their approved products list, because anything outside that they can't get professional indemnity on. And so this is part of the reason why you'll never hear somebody in that system talking about Bitcoin. And it's a shame, because inadvertently what they're doing is they are giving their clients an inability to get exposure to the greatest performing asset of all time. And so in my mind, that means that how on earth can you utilize a professional if they're not giving you exposure to the world's best performing asset, if they're completely ignoring it? It makes no sense to me why you would engage in that. So this is where we are now. So I want to talk about Bitcoin's growth, why it will continue to go up forever, but I also want to talk about why it is that the true revolution of Bitcoin is not just wealth acceleration, it's also wealth protection. I believe that Bitcoin promises two main things. Number one, wealth acceleration. Number two, wealth protection. People come for number go up. They are seduced by the growth. They start being lured into Bitcoin because they notice that it is outperforming every other asset. And it gets to a point where you can no longer ignore it. And so this is where we are now. Many people are starting to realize this. But what causes people to stay in Bitcoin for the long term is the true revolution, which is self-sovereignty, the ability to protect and preserve our wealth, to be detached from the central control system, to be our own bank, to be autonomous, to be completely portable with a global, highly liquid asset that we can take with us at any time if we were required to do so. And that's a very, very powerful thing. When you analyze every other asset that maybe you're exposed to, you will notice that there are counterparties that maybe you don't even truly own that asset. You actually might just have a paper claim on it. And if push comes to shove, the rights around ownership of that asset could easily be changed and you would have no say in that. And so this is why Bitcoin exists. This is why we're here. This is why you're paying attention to it. Hopefully this is why you're watching this video. And this is why Bitcoin is on a trajectory to continue to go up forever. It's the reason why it can't be stopped. Do you really think that institutions, Wall Street, BlackRock, the US government, do you really think they would be acquiring Bitcoin if they had a choice? They're doing it because they know that Bitcoin cannot be stopped. It is a life form of its own, a completely decentralized protocol that nobody can stop. And this is why the biggest pools of capital are now standing at the front door, telegraphing their intentions, acquiring Bitcoin, gobbling up all the supply. And so it's really important to be paying attention to this, and don't wait for permission from somebody on the news or your accountant or your financial planner or anybody. Don't wait for permission to start learning about what Bitcoin is and to start really paying attention to it and then making decisions around that. So People come for the wealth acceleration and they stay for the true revolution, which is autonomous, detachment, self-sovereignty, and freedom. And so if you value those things, then you're in the right place here. So point number one is unstoppable growth. Bitcoin's historical compound annual growth is hovering at around 50 to 60%, depending on what year, what cycle. We're talking about compound annual growth rate on average. Now, actually, if you look at it over the past 10 years, it's up around 80%. If you snapshot the last 7 years, it's 59%. If you look at the performance of your superannuation or virtually any other asset that you might have over the past 10 years, you'll notice that, it could be anywhere from 8 to 12%, something like that. Obviously, if you own real estate in a really desirable location, it's possible that the performance of that might be up around 15 to 20%. But the reality is that Bitcoin's growth is undeniable, and this is why more and more people are starting to wake up and realize they need to be rotating capital out of these other underperforming assets, because in an inflationary environment, which is what we're in, which is not going to stop, you've got to protect your purchasing power. And the only way to do that is to be in assets that are going to supersede or beat the hurdle rate, the true rate of inflation, which I keep saying is not 3 or 4%. It's more like 13 to 15% when you take into account the rate of currency debasement, money printing, as well as consumer price index inflation. And so if you're sitting in assets doing 7 or 8%, as is most industry super funds in this country, people with money stuck in retirement accounts, then unfortunately you're doing yourself a disservice in terms of financial performance. And unfortunately, the system can't do anything about that for you. And so it's up to you to do something about it for you. And that means that many people now are starting to realize, well, I've got, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years until retirement, and I don't want to be working, into my 70s, and the rate that things are going, I will be, unless I start taking action on this and taking control of my own retirement account, then, you really have to take action on this. And this is what people are doing. They're setting up self-managed super funds. They're taking control of their own portfolios. Maybe they're diversifying, having a mixture of Bitcoin, maybe some blue chip Australian shares, maybe some high growth shares, maybe some precious metals like gold and silver, maybe some treasury companies in Bitcoin. Some people are deploying into the likes of MicroStrategy, otherwise known as Strategy B, these kinds of things. The thing is, you can start doing that if you have a desire to take control of your retirement account, and people are starting to do that. Unstoppable growth. You've got to park your savings, your capital, your retirement accounts into high-performing assets that are going to keep up with inflation. That's my main point here. And what's fascinating about Bitcoin is that every 4 years, if you look at its price history, essentially it's added a zero on every 4-year cycle. So we went from $100 to $1,000 to $10,000. Now we're at $100,000. Next 4-year cycle, I believe that we're sitting at $1 million. The 4-year cycle after that, many believe that we'll be sitting at $10 million, and so it goes on. And we have to understand that Bitcoin is mathematically engineered to actually do that. It's engineered to do that forever. It's engineered to absorb all of the financial premium out of the $900 trillion worth of store of value assets where people choose to park their capital. It's designed to absorb all of the premium out of those assets. So everything from real estate, stocks, bonds, shares, currencies, fine art, collectibles, precious metals. Bitcoin is repricing all of that. It's not when it's going to happen. It's actually happening right now. And like I keep saying, all you need to do is price your house in Bitcoin the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, Price your stack of gold and silver if you have that in Bitcoin the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Price your share portfolio in Bitcoin the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Do it for your superannuation account. And what you will see is what I'm saying is the absolute truth. Bitcoin is absorbing the financial premium out of all of it. And it's not going to stop, because that's what Bitcoin is designed to do. It is a decentralized life force, open source, decentralized protocol bounded by energy that is repricing the entire financial system. That is what it's designed to do. This is why it came out when the system died in September 2008. And it's taken us 16 years to figure out what this is. Some of us have done it a little earlier, but most people now are really starting to have that light bulb moment where they realize this is an idea whose time has come. So Bitcoin is the hardest form of money humanity has ever seen. The only form of money where we've ever had an absolute hard cap. Even gold has a 2% inflation rate. If the price of gold goes up significantly, they can always mine for more gold. We never really know exactly how much gold deposits can be accessed, but historically what we know is that gold has about a 2% inflation rate. Bitcoin has 0. There is 21 million Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. And when you have a hard capped asset that is absolutely fixed, when you know what the protocol is and what the supply issuance is, which is what we know with Bitcoin, completely verifiable protocol that you can see for yourself, what happens? You have adoption, you have capital rotation, you have demand, you have institutions, you have governments around the world coming for a fixed and finite asset. Economics 101, what is it? Supply and demand. When you have a fixed supply asset and you have unlimited demand, what do you think is going to happen to the value of it? You know the answer to that. It's up and to the right forever, and it's exactly what Bitcoin does. You only need to look at a Bitcoin price chart from January 2009, and what you'll see is what I'm saying. If you look at the price chart, it looks like this. Now, does that mean there aren't, pullbacks along the way? Of course there are. Bitcoin is volatile. It's only a 16-year-old asset. It's like a teenager. Teenagers are volatile. It is up and to the right forever with volatility. So it's volatile to the upside. And what that means is that your time horizon with Bitcoin, it can't be 6 months, right? It can't be 12 months. You'd have to be getting really clear about what this asset is, doing the homework on it, learning about Bitcoin, knowing enough to know that this makes a lot of sense, making an allocation to it, start low and then grow as your knowledge and your conviction grows. And that's what I did. You start low and then you grow. And you get to a point where you realize, well, there's no other asset worth being in other than Bitcoin. But that's not for me to tell you. That's something that you have to come to in your own time. And so this is what we have. Volatility to the upside. But when you zoom out and you have a 4-year, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year time horizon, you see the reality. If Bitcoin's price trajectory continues at a 50% compound annual growth rate, and there's nothing to suggest that it won't do that, if you put $10,000 into Bitcoin today at 50% compound annual growth rate over the next 15 years, it's going to be worth about $4.3 million. 10,000 today at 50% compound growth rate in 15 years is going to be worth about $4.3 million. I'm not making this up. Go to the reverse CAGR calculator in my show notes. There's a link there, and put in that information. $10,000, 50% CAGR, 15 years, and you'll see what I'm saying is absolutely true. And this is why I always say for young kids in their 20s, and maybe as parents you can help them do this, get them to 0.1, 10% of a Bitcoin, and tell them to stop worrying about trying to save for a house. They're never going to be able to do it. It'll just create anxiety, stress, hardship in their life. Forget that. Get to 0.1, take it into self-custody, learn about the asset that you hold, keep stacking over time, $100 a week, $300 a fortnight, whatever it might be that you can handle that's not going to disrupt your lifestyle, save in Bitcoin. And guess what? These kids who are smart enough to do this now, who are in their 20s, by the time they're in their mid-30s, life's going to be beautiful. Life's going to be beautiful. They're going to be able to pay cash for an apartment or a house, and they're going to have wealth in their back pocket. And so get your kids to 0.1 Bitcoin. Now, if you have 15 years to retirement and you don't have kids to worry about, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Get to 0.1 Bitcoin. 10,000, I'm talking US dollars here. It's about 17, 18,000 Australian. That's 0.1. And just let time do the heavy lifting for you. Bitcoin's compound annual growth rate is going to carry you forward. It's going to do the heavy lifting for you, but you have to take action. You can't just sit on the sidelines and say, oh, that all sounds great, and then say to me in 5 years' time, I really coulda, shoulda, woulda, listening to that crazy guy sitting in his car. You've got to take action, guys. You can't just sit there. Very, very important. And if you need to book a call with me because you need some guidance in all of this, whether you're getting started from ground zero or you've made some progress and you're really wanting to level things up and learn about self-custody and run your own node and take things to the next level, then book a call with me. You'll see a link in the show notes for that too. I do calls every single week with people from all walks of life who are either getting started in Bitcoin or who are in Bitcoin needing to take things to the next level, and I can certainly help you with that. So, Bitcoin has unstoppable growth. It is also the ultimate liquidity sponge. Bitcoin is the ultimate liquidity sponge. In the US, they're going to lower interest rates very soon, particularly as Powell gets ousted, which is predicted to happen within the next 9 months or so. And as that happens, they're going to turn on the money printer. Trump wants to get to the midterms with the stock market and the asset market absolutely flying. And he's forewarned everybody. He's already told them, make sure you get your ducks in a row, get your asset portfolios in order, because things are about to get crazy. And I guarantee you, by the time we get to the midterms, which is the latter part of next year, 2006, things are going to be flying. And so you've got to be getting yourself into position now. Bitcoin is the ultimate liquidity sponge. When there's more currency being pumped into the economy, Bitcoin is going to absorb the lion's share of it. It's going to absorb the lion's share of it. So if you think real estate prices are going to continue to the moon, wait until you see what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the ultimate liquidity sponge because it's the most scarce asset of all. So this is what's coming. The other thing to understand is that Bitcoin gives you absolute ownership. Absolute ownership, not a paper claim. There's nothing synthetic about your ownership rights to your Bitcoin. If you take Bitcoin, buy UTXOs, unspent transaction outputs, you buy a piece of this protocol, on-chain Bitcoin, and you take that into self-custody, you own that Bitcoin. Nobody can take it from you. You have the keys to the safety deposit box on the Bitcoin blockchain that houses your Bitcoin. The only way anyone can access that Bitcoin is if they take those keys off you. And so the onus is on you to practice the right security around your keys. And again, I talk with people about this all the time on Zoom. So again, if you need to book a call with me, make sure you do that because you'll get tremendous value from it. Absolute ownership. People get caught up in, oh, what structure should I have? What about trusts? What about putting it in her name or his name? None of that matters when you have the ultimate bearer asset. Bitcoin is the ultimate bearer asset. He or she who controls the keys controls the Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. And if push comes to shove, that's the only rule that matters. Who has access to the Bitcoin? Who can move it from safety deposit box A to safety deposit box B on the blockchain? right? Whoever's got the keys can do that. So I hope I'm making myself clear here. Absolute ownership is one of the amazing features of Bitcoin. We've never had an asset that we have absolute ownership of. Even real estate you don't really own. They can change the property rights rules overnight. We're already seeing people getting the squeeze on property because they've got no say over the land taxes and the rates that are getting out of control. And so even if they don't threaten your property rights, they can certainly change the rules on you to squeeze you out of property ownership. We're seeing it right now. I talk to people every single week who are getting out of real estate and into Bitcoin. Very, very smart people. So you want an asset with no counterparty risk, and this is what Bitcoin is. The other thing it is it's an escape from pending surveillance, central bank digital currencies, potential capital controls, potential bank freezes. If we ever have another crisis moment, I wouldn't rule that out. If we ever have another pandemic or something like that, there is always the chance that they can suspend withdrawals from banks. And I actually believe that the next form of lockdowns is not medical lockdowns, it's going to be financial lockdowns. I did a video about this a couple of days ago. And so if you're awake, you'll see that this is coming. There was an article on Sky News about this the week before last, about how the Reserve Bank of Australia has been working quietly behind the scenes on our form of central bank digital currencies, and they termed it programmable money. Programmable money, which surveils every transaction that you make, can turn up, can turn down your spending based on your digital ID, your social credit score, your carbon credits, how far you're traveling, have you been a good citizen, all of these kinds of things. And so that should be a concern to every Australian. I hope it is for you. So I'm going to leave it there today, but really your job is just to, if you're seduced by Bitcoin's price growth, that's wonderful. You're going to make some decisions, I'm sure, based on that to get into Bitcoin. That's your choice. I would encourage you to not take what I say, but to verify it for yourself. The figures that I'm talking about, they're not hard to find. ChatGPT will be your best friend. Google will be your best friend. Look up ARK Invest, ARK Invest. They're a prominent fund manager in the US. They put out figures. If you Google it, you'll see them right there. Everything I'm saying is the absolute truth. So just verify it for yourself and then make smart decisions. That's really what I'm here to encourage you to do. And ultimately, it's not just about buying the Bitcoin. It's about taking the Bitcoin into self-custody so that you become self-sovereign, autonomous, free, portable, censorship-resistant, seizure-proof, all of these things that are so important, and Bitcoin is the only asset on earth that gives you that opportunity. Hope you got something from that. Bitcoin's going up forever. Yes, it's volatile, but just zoom out and you'll see the big picture, and just keep your eye on the price. That's the most important thing. If you need to book a call with me, you'll see a link in the show notes. I'd love to meet you on Zoom. Sessions run from usually 45 minutes to an hour. I know you'll get tremendous value from a call with me. You'll see a whole long list of reviews from people who have had calls with me recently, and they'll, I guess, attest to the fact that it's one of the best investments they've made in recent times in terms of education. And I'll certainly help you on your way with the simple next best steps. Other than that, have a great day. This is Zane signing out. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.